I don't wanna overwrite that file. That's why I changed the fucking name of it, idiot. I don't want it to be called that. That's why I'm changing it, you stupid. Sparty, what's happening? I'm trying to get something figured out real quick, like, but it is not cooperating at all. Not one bit. All right, extract all. I'm trying to turn a logo into an STL. And then print it. Add some text to it and then print it. Do you want a sneak peek of how it doesn't like that? Gosh darn it! Like I can like if you see right there, I made that's just a that's a card that I made for Nessa. The left has a QR code for her TikTok, and the right is the QR code for her Twitch. And you just hit it with a camera, and it'll link you right to it. So she has her logo, and I took her logo and made it a SVG, and then turned it into an STL. And what I was trying to do, like with this one, is take this picture and then add some text to it, right? The problem is, and this is a beautiful picture. I mean, this picture is fantastic, and it looks like it has lots of detail. And the detail even has depth. Like the detail has depth, but it doesn't see it. Because when I slice it and I attempt to try to want to print it, you'll see like it starts disappearing. Like I literally lose it into breaks and pieces, and I'm not sure why. But with that being said, so that's what I made for that. I made her logo. Like I recreated her logo. That's what I'm trying to do with this one here. Is we're trying to create this logo with lettering and text and keep it enough intact to keep the spirit of what the picture is. And that's her holding a shirt. Oh, you're probably not here. You're probably in ads. Show the Spotify. Okay, good. You're here. Oh, I didn't know if you had ads or not. So that was the logo. Like, so I recreated her logo, right? If you Spotify, like, do you Spotify? Because if you do, you can scan that beauty of a code right there, and it'll bring you somewhere special. It'll bring you to one of my favorite. It'll bring you to my most played tune in 2023. I promise you that. Definitely, without a doubt. I want to try something. I want to see if I can lay out. Wonder if I can lay out some lines on this. No, that is a great guess. That is a great guess, and I'm not saying that that's not an option. That's not what I'm saying. Is that not an option? But I promise you, 100%. I promise you, that is no Rickroll. Because I would not play Rickrolled as my number one tune for 2023. Just saying. Just saying. Like I would not. What I'm getting at, I would not. Oh, okay. How about fixed model? How about fixed model? Let's try that. Right, like, let's try that. Yes, 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 yes. Let's try that. Try that. Let's see what it does. Figure it out. Roll. As if. As if. Rick. Oh, so it's not Rick Roll. Okay. No, it's my song. It's my walk-on music. It's my song. My song. Yeah, I know there's conflicts because I haven't merged two together yet. So it fixed it, but it didn't fix it. Interesting. I wonder. Let me put some text on here and do a test run, just out of curiosity. Let me put some text on, and we're gonna have to pick new text because that other text it just wouldn't even stay. So we're gonna do. Thickness is gonna be 4, and we are going to embed. We're gonna embed 2. Nope. We're gonna go 5 and embed 2. That should leave us 3 exterior. All right. I don't like that font. This program is Bamboo Lab Studio. It's a combined it's a slicer program, but they've made slicer programs now so much more. They've enhanced them with modeling features, and even just as simple as adding text. Like you can make you can make like that text like you can make a text banner like it's nothing. Okay, this one's not crazy. Do you need it still to be? You want to try to keep it as script, or do you want to mess around with a different font, Tanya? What is your thought on that? Because I mean, I can find one, I'm sure. I don't think this one is too bad, to be honest. Of course, we have to make it a little bigger, obviously. All right, let me go see what that was, because I'm an idiot. You also have a better printer than I do, and I don't make my own files. What printer do you have? Because I mean, I have a few actually. I have that one over there running right now, making me a remote control holder option. I have one behind me that I picked up off a marketplace that I have to get going. Just an Ender. I picked up an Ender 3. I picked up an Ender 3 Neo Max. On Facebook Marketplace for next to nothing. Next to nothing. All right, this is freestyle script. Freestyle script. That's still better than mine. That little Bamboo Labs is a game changer though, and I've recently been playing with a Bamboo Labs uh, X1 Carbon, which is just phenomenal. It has lidar to check the first layer, and it runs a comparative value to make sure that it looks okay. Like it's very leading edge, very leading edge. It's crazy. Da-da. Freestyle script. Okay. 22. We're gonna make it a little bigger anyway, more than likely. Size. Ah, wrong one. Wrong one, Shelly. Wrong one. There we go. Mine still have twisty knobs. I mean, the two big ones have twisty knobs. Uh, and the big one, like the big one's brand new, and I've already bricked it and had to bring it back to life. And it doesn't. It has an auto level feature, but it doesn't keep a Z offset value, and the sensor that they're using doesn't stay within calibration. And somebody else proved this to them in the forum to show them if you relocated where the sensor's at, it would make better. It would make better sensing decisions. And it's a hot mess. Don't ever buy anything from Artillery. Like I am so disappointed. I bought it as a pre-release even. It had because it could have had all this potential. Clipper base, 500 millimeters a second, super fast. 3 by 3 by 4 build volume, 300 by 300 by 400 build volume. Like it hit all the bells and whistles for what I was looking for. Because the little 7-inch bamboo doesn't do it for like cosplay and armor and stuff like that. I was going to get a brain transplant, but I changed my mind. Wow. Okay. But yeah, so it's kind of like, you know, I was extremely disappointed, and I'm still looking for a large volume, 300 by 300 by 400 or so. Uh, like if I can find an Elegoo or Tanya uses a Cobra, an Anycubic Cobra, and she's very happy with how it behaves and plays and auto levels and things like that. Uh, I mean, the only reason I can make the ones do what I can make them do is because I've been printing for a long time. I built my first printer 10 years ago or so. Like I built my first printer, not because I wanted to build my first printer, but because I had to, because back then that was the only way I was going to have a printer is if I built it myself. I bought it as a kit. It came in as a kit put together. It literally came with a zip top bag full of loose screws, and then all of the hardware and all of the pieces in individual, like in bags. And the first thing you had to do was sort, 3 pounds of loose screws. If I ever get upgraded, I'll go get auto level because I want to do helmets and they have to be in. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. You can add auto level, right? Like it doesn't matter which printer you have. Like the Ender 3, I think they use a CR Touch. That's just a knockoff of the BL Touch. The BL Touch is a very good auto probe device. The biggest problem with a BL Touch that people don't get, like they don't see in their head that they don't get, is if this is your hot end, right? Like if this is your hot end, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give you a great visualization, one that helped me tremendously. All right, I'm gonna use this as the BL Touch. If you put it in yourself, like if you installed it yourself, you have to calibrate it and you have to tell it what to do. The biggest problem that people have is they don't realize. So if this is the okay, so this is going to be the hot end. We're going to just call this the hot end. We're going to call this the BL Touch. When you mount the BL Touch, you put it on the same plane, like you mount it to the level of the same plane as your hot end. So that essentially the retracted position on the BL Touch should be level with, so that when it goes down, like when it gets close or whatever, right? When it gets close to coming down, the, we go. When it comes close to coming down, the BL Touch goes boop boop and touches the bed. You have to tell it the offset. Like you have to let it know the offset of where you're going to stop the hot end and then deliver the probe. And it does, I mean, it's like a millimeter, right? Like it doesn't need, it comes in close and then it probes and then it moves on. And you have to make sure that this is at least, a half a millimeter or so above the hot end nozzle so it doesn't catch or drag on anything. So if you bring it into about a half a millimeter of where the hot end nozzle is, and then calibrate it and set it so that it dips down and hits the bed and makes its checks, I mean, it works like a champ. It really does. And it works like a champ because it's simple. It's a very simple system. It's an easy like the Ender 3V2 Neo that I have. Yeah, you had a probe,
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
you had a probe on the end of the or on the side of the hot end, essentially like next to the hot end you had a probe. Yeah, that's Creality calls theirs a CR Touch. And all you have, again, sometimes what happens is when it came from Creality, they have it already pre-programmed into their code. So you wouldn't have to really mess with it. But if you ever had to mess with it, you would have to go in and tell it, like you have, just like a Z offset, you have to tell it what the auto probe offset is to the hot end, and then what, it needs to come within a close enough distance to the bed so that when it deploys the probe, it can hit probe, or it can hit bed and then make a reaction, make a determination. Because that's how the probe works. It throws the probe down, makes sure that it's hitting a bed, and then it measures that distance of how far it threw the probe down. And if it ever throws the probe all the way out, which it shouldn't, but if it throws the probe all the way out and it doesn't reach the bed, it should give you an error. Like it should tell you and give you an error, or it'll tell you that your bed needs further adjustment, because then you can make the adjustments physically to the bed. I just got some I got some silicone spacers in too. I got some silicone spacers in. Oh, did you see this? Do you like this? Are you cozy with this? Tell me what your thought is on this. Cuz I'm gonna assemble it. I'm gonna bring it down and I think I'm gonna see just I want to see if it just prints a little bit cuz I'm really aggravated. Actually, let me slice it first. Before I assemble it, let me slice it. Okay. Yeah, I know. I got tons of warnings. See, but see how my see at least the letters didn't disappear, right? See my gut says the laptop's not gonna print. Is my gut feel. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all. I'm gonna assemble. Now it's one piece. We're gonna make it smaller because I don't want to print a huge to do. I just now slice it. 20 minutes. I'm still very inexperienced at this. I know very little. Well, and let me share something with you. 10 years ago, the the landscape of 3D printing was extremely different. You had your Prusa sect of people who said that if you don't own a Prusa, you ain't shit. Like you don't deserve to breathe the same air that I breathe. That was the Prusa people. And again, this is about 10 years ago, 9 years ago, right? There were your people that were just starting to get into the rip rap, like into that whole what became the Creality brand of printer to the masses, right? Because when I first started and I built my machine, I built it on 2020 extrusion, and they were still selling laser cut, basically balsa wood, right? Like real thin wood to make the frames. Stay in here, you'll learn a lot from them. I have been known to do a thing or two. Noticed how I was very careful just not to touch the build plate. Learned a lot from Spot. Only been doing 3D for 4 months. I do what I can. I really do, and I love it. It's for me. It's a passion. I like printing. I like printing. I like playing with printing. I like doing all the things. I don't like the way this is slicing. Really don't like the way it's slicing. You've helped me a lot. Well, I mean, I do what I can. I really do, and I try to help you so that you can get it, like understand it. You know, like to try to just help you, and again, help you to learn it. It's really not complicated. These machines, it's all math, right? I hate math. I am the worst. I hate math. I use a calculator for everything, but it's all math. Like it's literally all math. The thing that bothers me about this print, like when I slice it, it bothers me. But we're gonna trust the process at least for 22 minutes. Oh, did you notice I didn't touch anything on that plate? This is one of my new imprinted plates, and I've been printing with no glue stick, no nothing. And it's a heavy enough texture that it grabs, especially like on these, and then it leaves the print on the bottom. It's fantastic. This is a this is 22 minutes. We're gonna no, it's flexy. It's flexy. It's one of them it's a PEI it's a smooth PEI plate. It's flexible. I'll show you when we take this one off. I've been doing my best to try to keep my fingers off of it, to keep the oils off of it, because I have no glue stick on there at all. We're just gonna print this for just for shits and giggles. We're gonna see what happens. If it comes out, then so be it. But my gut says it's not gonna. My gut says it's not gonna, but we will see. We will see. We will see. But yes, Barty, it's not. It's not. It's really not as bad as people make it out to be. A lot of people try to over. A lot of people try to make it overcomplicated. I think people try to make it overcomplicated because they don't want to have more people coming in on their territory or whatever. And that's never been me. I don't give a shit. I like streaming. I don't know a lot about streaming, but I know enough. See, I can only print one color at a time. Well, hello, I can only print one color at a time. I can switch those colors effortlessly. You can switch those colors effortlessly too. You have to know how to do it, and it's called an M600 command. You can add an M600 command on a layer, so much so that now when you add that command in, it's going to take your print head, it's going to move it, it's going to park it, it's going to allow you to retract out the old filament, put in the new filament, purge the new filament, which is what this machine does automatically, and then turn around and hit resume, and then it's going to resume the print on that secondary color. And then every time you hit an M600 command, you would change the filament because you only have the ability to do it manually, which is what this machine does automatically. And it's a game changer. I tell everybody, if you're going to buy a bamboo, buy it with the if you buy the little one, buy it with the AMS combo. If you buy an A1, buy it with the AMS combo. If you buy a P1 or an X1, buy it with the AMS combo. It doesn't serve you any good to have a color changing machine if you don't spend the extra money to get a color changing. All I heard was Greek. Okay, let me back up a little bit. This is great. I love this. Is like I live for this shit. Okay, so my machine is a Bamboo Lab. Let's go check out old Bamboo Lab. Right, my machine is a Bamboo Lab A1 Mini. It has 180 millimeter cubed print volume. That's 7 inches, by the way. That is 7 inches square. It's not big at all. The A1 just came back. It had a recall, but it came back and it is a 256 by 256 cubed machine bed slinger like the A1 Mini. Also very capable. This is the Mini here. This is my machine right here. This is the machine that I currently own. The one we're watching right now is this machine. This little doodad over here, that is called an AMS Lite, Automatic Material Selector. So essentially what it does is it has a brain. It's tied to the machine, right? If you see the little spots with the yellow knobs on them, those are little motors. Those are feeder motors. Those feeder motors feed up to the brake on the hot end. There's a sensor inside the hot end that when you feed the filament in, it knows when it hits the throat, and then it backs it up that distance of throat travel, and then it parks it. When it loads the second one in, it brings it down to the throat, and then it retracts it, and it parks it. So what it does is it stages all 4 of those filament lines, like all of these lines here. All of these are PTFE tubes, like Bowden tubes, right? All of these are PTFE tubes. And you load these filaments into these tubes, and all you got to do is get it started into the bottom of one of these motors, and it grabs it, and it pulls it up through and over to the hot end. When you tell it to print in different colors, when it gets to making a color change, it will retract the filament being used. It will put in the new filament color that's needed, and then it will spit out, purge the color out of the old color. That's called poop. And this machine makes a lot of poop. They decided to go ahead and call it poop because that's what it's like. It's like pooping because it knocks out these little plastic. That's what it's doing right now. It's just, and it's also calibrating. It's checking pressure sensor. It's got a pressure sensor. Yeah, poop, right? Who doesn't think that funny? Like it's just so it's like that's its thing, right? Like that's what it does. And it just kicked off that little piece of poop. I don't have any in here. I emptied it. And now it's doing it again because it's wanting to check the calibration for it getting ready to print. Because that's what it does. Like it's insane. The other thing it does is it checks the bed. It checks the resonant frequency in the motor. That's when it's vibrating.